This story is interesting, and I'm thankful that someone sent it to me. Sex selection for new babies by parents is not a new phenomenon, but historically, people were sex selecting to have boys, not girls. So this is definitely a little bit of a variation. The parents who want daughters and daughters only. Sex selection with IVF is banned in much of the world, not in the US. Let's get into it. Amy Yin always envisioned having at least two daughters. She spent her 20s working as an engineer and founding a startup in San Francisco. When she wasn't working, vacationing with friends, and spoiling her cats, Amy dedicated herself to helping other women take charge and launch high powered careers. Now 32, she's bringing the same energy into her family planning. She has frozen her eggs, and when she's ready, she will undergo IVF so that she can select the sex of her future children. I think I'll raise really powerful women who are going to be rock star leaders, Amy told me without hesitation. IVF is invasive, grueling, and expensive. One round costs an average of $20,000. Only 15 states require that insurance plans offer any kind of coverage for it. Even then, the coverage is usually minimal. The treatment is often a last resort for those who are eager to be parents, but who face one roadblock or another when it comes to conceiving. Some couples are struggling with fertility issues. Some couple are the same sex, and some people are single and making a go of it on their own. Having a baby via IVF requires creating an embryo in a petri dish. Embryonic testing can reveal secrets like genetic disorders. That allows it to serve as a screening tool for parents who carry genes for rare diseases. Such testing also lets parents know the sex of their prospective children. It essentially allows patients to pick whether they will have a male or female baby. Sex selection was once controversial in the US and is banned in almost every other country. Many Americans are unaware of the process, still assume that it's that way. In reality, it has now become a standard part of IVF here. For some, the option to sex select is a perk of an otherwise exacting process. For others, it's the whole point of doing IVF in the first place. Over the past 2 decades, enterprising clinics have attracted thousands of fertile customers like Amy who are so invested in selecting their kid's sex that they're willing to undergo weeks of shots, submit to surgery, and risk rare but life altering complications. Jeffrey Steinberg, the founder of Fertility Institutes of LA, figures that elective IVF for sex selection rakes in an estimated $500 million dollars annually for clinics. He puts it at about 5% of the $8 billion market. But its growth potential is unlimited, Steinberg told me. The market is the size of the human race. Two things are true about America's blazing hot fertility industry, a sector that is largely unregulated and increasingly owned by private equity firms and hedge funds. It serves a real need. For many prospective parents, access to these technologies is vital. And yet, it is fueled in part by consumer whims. You can have a baby when it suits your career, thanks to egg freezing, or at least you can try. You can sequence your embryo's genomes for $2,500 a pop and attempt to maximize your future child's health or intelligence, attractiveness, or height. At Steinberg's clinic, you can even select eye color. There is a vast disparity between who gets to use IVF. Many struggle to access the technology at all because of the cost and now political restrictions and who is using it to create designer families. This is so interesting. These patients are seeking not just choice. Many, like Amy, want daughters. The ability to act on that desire, an option mostly unheard of in the rest of the world, has sparked a small but growing trend in American family planning. It has expanded the concept of reproductive choice and bodily autonomy to for profit procedures that will alter future generations. It speaks to a crisis in boys and lopsided expectations for daughters. And even among the people who are opting in, is creating concerns about the degree of control some parents are attempting to wield over a baby's destiny and whether they can ever really exert that control at all. Lexi and her husband, both software engineering managers at major Bay Area tech companies, have always wanted girls. Lexi asked to be identified by a pseudonym because her parents are unaware of her plans. Lexi, who is 32, longs to replicate the close relationship she has with her mom. Her husband values traits more associated with girls, including empathy, social skills, and kindness, but they had no plans to act on their preference. That is, until they learned that their companies would foot the bill. Lexi's husband was more excited than she was. All he needed to do was self pleasure into a cup. Lexi's immediate thought was, I don't know if I want to put my body through that in order to guarantee a girl. A fertility workup suggested that the couple would have no trouble conceiving the old fashioned way. Still, Lexi did really want a girl. She craved a close relationship with her future child, one that would last into old age. That seemed possible only with a female child. I was just like, how do I convince myself to do this, to undergo the discomfort and hassle of IVF, if this is what we want to do for our family, she said. Eventually, a double date with fellow techies swayed her. Their friends, too, had no known fertility issues. They were creating embryos to select sex and potentially use a gestational surrogate. They normalized it, Lexi said. I spoke to 15 women and a couple of men who are planning on doing IVF so they can have a daughter. Being bullish on IVF is not just about sex selecting, several told me. Procedures that appear scary and unnatural to many can feel novel and exciting to science obsessed computer nerds. IVF can seem safer than conceiving via intercourse because it's monitored by scientists. We spend so much time micro optimizing so many things in our lives, even micro optimizing how much time we spend at the grocery store. Guthrie Gensler, Amy's partner and a software product manager, told me, why not optimize having a baby from the exact timing of conception, the shape of the chromosomes? Trends spread among hyperconnected peers. I know both Lexi and Amy through my own former career as a software engineer and have met multiple people influenced by their plans. So I never imagined all of this. But, people are doing what they want with the science that's out there. And it definitely does sound like designer babies. Okay, I'm just going to finish up with this one. This article is actually kind of long. So if you want to, you can go and look up the rest of the article. But I do want to talk about this last screenshot. It's impossible to pin down how many patients choose IVF purely for sex selection and how many are picking girls, as with most aspects of fertility care. This is something clinics are not required to report. The vast majority of clinics offer the service, with many listing it on their websites. Even when intended parents don't begin fertility treatment intending to sex select, they often discover this option along the way. In fact, several people I spoke to for this story told me that their clinic intake forms asked for the preferred gender of the child they hope to have. For many American couples desperate to conceive, the ability to pick feels like a silver lining of a process that is otherwise arduous in terms of both money and emotional health. I saw where this is ranging from like 75,000 to 150,000. I made a mistake. This is talking about surrogacy, where I was talking about the 75,000 and the 150,000. This says their companies will foot 75,000 of the roughly $150,000 surrogacy fee. No one involved in making this happen for them has challenged or even asked Lexi and her husband's motivation. Lexi described the clinic's attitude as, this is business as usual and we get money from you. So this is just a service. Sex select surrogacy is all part of a service. Obviously, obviously, this is only going to be extended to the people that have the money to do this. Regular, schmegular, everyday people are not out here sex selecting. But this is going to be interesting as we move towards women opting out of pregnancy with a man, or the whole 4B movement where women are no longer having relations with men. Now, obviously, the 4B movement says no children, but on down the line, a woman might choose to have a baby, and maybe she will be like, I will bring a girl into this world because things are a little bit better now. It's going to be interesting to see how the future is shaped. I do want to know your thoughts on this. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Like, comment, and share.